All right, we will go ahead and call the Becker City Council meeting of September 3rd to order. If everyone will rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to look over the meeting minutes from August 20th? If so, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Any additional items for this evening's meeting?
Yes, I would like to add 9 Charlie, a call for a public hearing for the creation of a TIF District Number 4 and 5, resolutions 1954 and 1955. Add that item as 9C.
I have a motion from Rick. Would anyone?
Second that.
Right, motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any discussion on it? None. Of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of this evening's agenda.
Make a motion to approve the meeting agenda as amended.
Second it.
Motion from Rick, second from Troy. Any discussion? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Guest and open forum. Anyone here for guest and open forum this evening? Seeing no movement, we'll go on to the committee reports. Budget and Finance Committee.
Budget and Finance Committee. So overall, our city expenses as a whole, as a city, we're down about 5% below projection so far. So overall, as a city, we're doing pretty good. Most of the numbers looking right about where they're supposed to be. We did talk about golf a little bit. Golf, the anticipated revenue or the projected revenue coming into this year, we were projecting about 1.7 million. If the numbers hold through for the rest of the year, we are looking at about just over 2 million in revenue. The expenses are also going up. They're going up in tandem. Right now, it puts us we're at about 11,000 under. So just wanted to bring that to attention. But we did we talked about that at Budget and Finance, and the word was going to get passed on to the golf, and so they can make adjustments there for the end of the year. And no accounts overdue. So that's what I have budget plans.
Police Management.
Moving into police management, we met last Friday, or 2 Fridays ago, I guess it'd be. We had a final update on the body camera audit, which we had at our last meeting. We got a staffing update. We have 2 part-time officers that are currently in training right now. Also, we talked about stats. The call volume had been running slightly lower, if you recall, maybe from previous updates. Now the calls are actually running slightly above last year, that is. A little bit of discussion on the 2019 budget there, and then we had a little bit of discussion on some IT security as well.
All right. Golf Committee.
Golf Committee, we just went over the financials, get an update on them, looking at the forecasts. It's looking good. A lot of weddings are already booked for next year, and hoping to get more. They're looking at doing a new menu, or updating the menu. And then we went over a recap of the events coming up. There's several of them, and I can go through them if you like, but there's quite a few. And other than that, that's it.
Planning Commission.
Planning Commission, we have 4 items on our agenda tonight under number 8, and all 4 of those items were discussed at Planning Commission as well.
Any other committee reports? Joint planning was canceled. All right, board committee and consultant reports. The CUP for gutter business on PID 64190232. Marie Flipson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So tonight before you, we do have an application for the conditional use permit for the parcel that you mentioned. So this would be for a gutter business, so it would be an at-home business within the R1 district, which would be permitted with that conditional use permit. Planning Commission did hold their public hearing on August 26th. And then within your council packet as well, we do have a summary of the comments that we did receive from the public, kind of separated by category, and then kind of staff's response to those conditions, or to the complaints. So some of them include parking on the street, dumpsters, storage of building materials, deliveries, noise, and then property values in the area. So we do have Resolution 1952 before you. A lot of these concerns are addressed within the resolution with the conditions as identified. I believe Councilmember Hendrickson will also have some edits for you this evening, or proposed edits that were brought up during the public hearing, but staff is recommending approval.
Rick, did you want to go through yours?
Sure. So if you notice in your packets here, the suggested changes, and this is just a starting discussion. My suggested changes are in red in the.
Only you got a copy of the red.
I did?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
only you
well,
have
I
that.
guess I'll read them.
I was short on paper that day.
Yeah,
Budget
black and
cuts, you
white.
just reported that, didn't you?
that's right, black and white ink only. Okay, so and part of this too, I guess I won't claim all the credit, is so we discussed, so Planning Commission, when we discussed this, we came to a 2-2 vote. We had a 5th member absent, so we either recommended or did not recommend. And because we didn't recommend, we had come up with a bunch of these changes already, but because we didn't have a recommendation, those changes actually couldn't come forward as part of this, and so I'm basically iterating most of them. I've tossed in a few of my own as well. So just the change, the third whereas, we of course updated that to gutter. It's not a salon. But in the if you flip over to let's see, page 3 of 6. So the further resolve. So item number. Now I had a suggest change on number 1 as well. I don't see it on here, but so on item number 1, so it lists this as 1 year. That the let's see. Initiate such conditional use permit and fulfill every condition within 1 year from the date of its authorization. If we were to leave this at 1 year right now, basically this is saying when you want to start the CUP. So if you think of back when Matt Westeen had his house here, and he was going to potentially move his house to the property, he had a year to enact that, so to speak. And so if we were to leave this at a year, it would basically leave the applicant a year to start the process, start the business, so to speak. Well, the business has already started. So my suggestion would be 15 days because we're already started here, and really the only requirement so far would be that the garbage receptacles would be moved into screening, which is, you have a backup plan, and that they could be moved in the garage if they had to be. So, so there's no need to wait a year to start the process. So I would propose those to be changed to where each says 1 year, to change that to 15 days.
Can you make that change, or is that like a statute?
No, we can make that change. It's just been the standard language that we've used on our CUP, so that was more an oversight.
How
Since
are
the
you
process
going
is
to
there.
differentiate the start of this one versus the start of another one, I guess?
What do you mean?
They're already,
The next
This-
CUP is
this
the
business
same.
is already operating.
Right, but
So
don't you
that-
think the others are too that
But
were?
if you go with the wording that's in there, he's got a year to start the business. He's already got the business going.
So really, this wouldn't take this could take effect any time between now and 1 year from now. We really want it to take effect ASAP. So none of these would apply for a year if we left it at 1 year. So we want to get you know, he wants the business to get going, obviously, so that would be the purpose of doing a 15-day. I did have help with Mary on this one as well, so to go 15-day, and then if you see where it says 30 days before expiration, so if you recall, so Quick Trip had a CUP as well, and so when they had 1 year, and then of course, as we know, they didn't take any action on it, before the year was up, within that last 30 days, they can file for an extension on it, and, you know, they get another year in that case. And so, of course, the 30 days, I would suggest change that to 5 days then, so. But the conditions to really meet here so far, unless we were to change them, you know, like I said, it's just the receptacle, the garbage receptacles, so there isn't a lot that would need to happen to get the process started. So that's why I don't feel there should be, you know, the time need is pretty small there. We can talk about that, obviously. Maybe should I just run through them and then
Sure.
everybody take notes and we can talk about them, or, okay. So I suggest 1 year and 1 year to 15 days, and then 30 days to 5 days. Be my suggestions there. On number 3, the use may not have more than a single sign, 1 foot by 2 foot, which is kind of there. Let's see. Because number 3 was because, so number 3 kind of refers to 2 different things, and so we're talking about exterior evidence, secondary use, which would be material and stuff like that, and then it also talks about a sign. So we limited number 3 to just the sign, and then we addressed the secondary evidence in the new item at the bottom. So that's the suggested change there. So it just addresses the sign there. Number 4, trash and recycling receptacles. They're holding trash generated by the home occupation, and that's the key. If you caught that from the memo there, I want to take a step back here. So when we look at this, we can't, or we shouldn't suggest restrictions that are more restrictive than an individual is allowed to do in their house. And so, in the case of the CUP here, we can only address the business. And so in this case here, this would be the business trash and recycling receptacles. So, so that's what we're talking about here. The trash and recycling receptacles holding trash generated by the home occupation shall be screened from view when not on the curb awaiting pickup, and then receptacles shall return to the screen area the same day as they're picked up. So we can't leave them on the curb for 3 days. That's number 6. Updated to say the home occupation shall not load or unload the work vehicle outside of the hours of 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Home occupation shall not operate power tools to prepare the materials outside of the hours of 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. That one we can of course talk about there too, because we're getting kind of close to where the noise ordinance is and what is a normal citizen allowed to do there. And because originally it had said operate the business. Well, what is operating the business? You do 99% of it off site. So really operating the business in most cases, you jump in the truck, you drive away. Well, everybody else can do that too. So, but you know, bottom line is people don't want, you know, to listen to power tools in the middle of the night. But we do have noise ordinances for that. So we can discuss that. Number 8. There was an amended onto the end there. We're talking about deliveries there. Deliveries shall be attended by the home occupation owner, and materials shall be stored immediately upon receipt. Products delivered by a flatbed shall be limited to 1 per month. And where this is, of course, if you get a delivery in the morning and it sits in the driveway all day until evening, that's, you know, if we're getting a lot of materials, that's, you know, starting to look more like a business. And then it was specifically the products delivered by flatbed. Obviously, there's, you know, everybody buys stuff on Amazon, so there's FedEx and UPS that put up and down the street every day. That's not what we're talking about here. It's, you know, stuff that's actually delivered by a flatbed. And you think about what does a citizen typically do? You know, they get shingles or something like that. That's all pretty rare kind of stuff. So it's, you know, so that was why that was there. And again, we can discuss all these. And then last item, number 11. the new condition, which was the separated one off of, I believe, number 3 there, the storage of building materials utilized in the home occupation shall be stored in a completely enclosed area, screened from view, such as the garage or work vehicle. Again, we need to keep in mind that this is a residential area first, and so, if it's business materials, gutters or whatever, that, of course, that they're stored where people can't see them.
Like, we don't have a number 11, so that would be a brand new
Yeah.
one.
Yep, that was
Isn't it already addressed in one of the bullets, isn't it?
It was number 3, the change to number 3, see how number 3 references, or the original verbiage for number 3 says, shall not have any exterior evidence of the secondary use. And then it also talks about the sign there. And so because those were two different kind of, one's talking about the sign, the other's talking about material. There's kind of two different things covered there. So we changed number 3. The proposed change in number 3 is to just talk about the sign. And then anything referencing the external evidence of the secondary use then is moved now to the new number 11, just to separate them out.
Can you read number 11 again?
Yep. Storage of building materials utilized in the home occupation shall be stored in a completely enclosed area, screened from view, such as the garage or work vehicle.
So you're limiting where he can store, where the citizen can store their product?
Yep. So either screened from view,
For the
So it's
business.
gotta be in the garage or behind the screen as well. Take it, right?
behind a screen, in the garage, or in his trailer. Yep. Just so people aren't seeing, work materials stored on the side of the, outside on the side, say of a garage or somewhere.
I do want to talk about number 6, the noise how the time was selected. Business shall not operate outside the hours of 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. You talked about power tools and different things. How are you going to evaluate that? I mean, how does the noise ordinance supersede any of this?
What is the hours on the noise? Is that 6 to 10?
Brent, do you know that offhand?
7 to about 10 o'clock, I believe.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't mind seeing it 7 to 10, which matches the noise ordinance.
Or if you just reference the noise ordinance, that way if the noise ordinance would ever change, you wouldn't have to go back and
Yes, do not operate outside of the noise ordinance.
and specify it in the noise ordinance, because then it's no different than anybody else. Like you said, if somebody, if I'm working in my garage on a personal project at 9:30, Okay.
I'm a little leery on your number 1, too. 15 days, I know what your explanation was. It just feels very harsh. Would you mind reconsidering 30 days and maybe 15 as your second number? So it would be 30, 30, 15. Gives them a month to get everything up to the CUP standard.
Can we ask if he's at that spot?
It's not a public hearing, but if staff wants to direct a question towards Mr. Bohm.
Are you okay with 15 or 30? Either. And 15 days was brought up, I believe, in the planning commission meeting too, so that was brought forward for tonight. And staff is comfortable with the 15 days.
Okay.
I'm worried about number 4.
The trash?
Do we have anything that is showing what he's gonna do with them? Are they going in the garage? Because they're not like normal garbage cans.
No, but I did, just before the meeting, I did just tell him about another opportunity that he might be able to work with like the Boy Scouts. If he's just recycling cardboard
Oh.
in one of his dumpsters, I mean, they take it as a
Free up here at the
community center. Yeah, so I mean, maybe he can work a deal out, like I'll drop off all my cardboard on my way home. I don't know. Maybe they have to get it, financially helps him. I mean, if you only need, I don't know. It's an idea, bounce it around.
And we ran copies of what
Oh,
Rick's looking at.
wonderful, thanks. your
Oh, I
red
gotcha.
lined copy. Okay. Troy, does that help your question, or do you
Well,
have something specific?
is there something set forward, how he's gonna go about where they're gonna sit? Or,
I didn't, we didn't specify where, it's just that they have to be screened from view.
what kind of
So,
screen? I mean, is it a wood fence, a plastic fence?
Screened from view. So just they would not be visible.
It'd be the same as any business that has dumpsters, they got them in an enclosure.
Yeah, so if they use, if you use a plastic white fence, wooden fence, whatever he wants to do, it's not, you don't need to get that specific, it's just so, the spirit of it is just so that people see them.
Okay.
Anything else for Marie?
I don't have anything for Marie, I do have a comment I care to make, the same comment that I made at the public hearing, is I feel that this use is totally out of order for this residential area, this type of use. Marie claims that we can't approve that, but I think the number one thing it's going to do is take away from the value of the surrounding properties by having a business run on a residential, small residential lot on the golf course. And at the very least, if we don't vote this down, at the very least, I think we should have a realtor that's not connected write an opinion on that before we make that decision.
What operations, which business operation, I guess, do you feel, because he's installing them off-site, he's not constructing them on-site?
But I've driven by the place all summer. I don't live there, but I've driven by it all summer. And I was surprised it took the residents this long to complain about it. And granted, a lot of these conditions, if they're followed, will alleviate a lot of those issues. But they're still going to have the dumpsters out there.
Well, they'll be screened, though, according to,
Yeah, I understand that, but you only got so much room. He can barely get his truck and trailer in the driveway as it is.
well, there's the garage as a backup, too. I mean, that's, we don't have to
Like I
get
said,
that specific.
I feel it's going to take away the value of the neighbors' properties, and that's my opinion. And I think at the very least, we should have a professional realtor make some kind of statement on that, or get an opinion from a realtor that's not involved, not the neighbor realtor.
You don't want Amy Stanger doing it?
I wasn't gonna
Do you
mention any
feel
names.
there's something not addressed in these conditions here? Do you feel, is there an
I
activity
don't
you're
care
seeing
what
that's
you
not
address.
addressed
I
here?
still say it's going to detract from the value of the surrounding homes.
I think what he's saying is it's on a, look where it's sitting, for one. On a piece of property it's sitting on.
It's a
not
small
like
lot,
it's-
very small lot. And if you've paid attention, the people that live in that area typically do extremely well job of taking care of their property.
And we're assuming that everything's going to be followed here, I mean, the
I'm
purpose of
assuming
this
everything,
is
if
to not.
this is approved, I'm assuming everything will be followed. I still feel that it's going to detract from the value of the surrounding homes.
How would anybody know it if the garbage is hidden, if the only thing he does is drive his truck and trailer? I mean, really the operating of his business, as far as the home is concerned, is that he would drive his truck and trailer home at night when he leaves and drives away when he.
I don't have a problem with truck and trailer, because there's many people that they bring their work vehicle home and park it in their driveway.
Yep.
That's a common practice, and it should be allowed, I mean. But to run it out of the residential area,
But which activity, I guess I'm asking, which.
I'm not saying any, I'm just telling you my opinion. None of these activities are going to change anything that I'm talking about. I'm talking about land values, because that's there. And the residual effects of doing stuff. There'd be, stuff brought in and out, stuff sitting out for a while. There's,
I think what he's also saying is the people next door when they go to sell, and if they know that's happening there, are you gonna be more likely to buy that place if, there might be noise?
If the CIP is, that's why I'm asking, if there's something we need to address here,
I
if
don't
you're
think you can
seeing
address the
something.
issue. I don't feel that you can address the issue that I'm trying to bring up, is land values based because of that.
Well, the land values would be based off, I'm assuming, something you would see. So that's what I tried to
That's right.
address here.
And I
is
don't
he's
care what
saying-
you do, you're gonna see something at some given time or whatever. I'm just telling you, I would like to see a Realtor that's not involved give an opinion before we approve this. I
By
mean, I'm one
statute,
person.
Does the
You
financial
guys can do what you want.
being of a property change what we can and cannot do?
It can't negatively affect, so if you look in the resolution, let's see what finding is. Under
I was
the-
looking for that part of it,
Yep.
I couldn't find it.
Under the now therefore be it resolved on page 2, it starts listing the findings of fact. So this is what staff has to review in order to make their recommendation. So that A through K are the different criteria. Well, J and K don't apply to this one specifically. So for that one, A, injurious to the use and enjoyment of other properties. That would probably be the only one that could potentially include a finding related to that.
And staff did reach out. There is a note in our memo that states that the county laid out, they looked at the property values and actually they've increased and not decreased.
Correct, we did look at all the assessments for the region, or that whole kind of strip of properties there, and they've all continued to go up. None of them have seen a negative, and that's based on the county.
Should probably also note that part of the discussion at Planning Commission, there was a concern brought up about safety because of where the residence is located is on the corner, and with cars coming around the corner there. And so we did ask, PD did go out and take a look at the, we just asked that, okay, a safety concern wouldn't apply to just the business, that would apply to everybody. And so we did ask, if this, ask PD to take a look, and they did, and that was in our packet there. They did not feel there was any additional safety concern by the cars being parked there. And of course, that would be outside of the CUP process, though, my thought there is if it was, then you'd put up no parking signs that would apply to everybody, not business or not. So, should probably just want to mention that.
Any other questions or comments for Marie or council? No. What does council wish to do?
I'll call the question.
So Rick, you're asking to me, asking for the motion?
Yeah, I'd be asking to cease discussion and move to a vote.
To click.
Not at this meeting. It's unfortunately not a public hearing. The public hearing was last week.
The comments that were made at the public hearing are in the materials that we're looking at here, so they've had the opportunity to see.
One year, and you were have gone out of your way to ensure that you have a place to operate this business in a residential area. And it's not happening. And as far as the safety concern, those 3 vehicles or 4 vehicles are parked every night, and there will be an issue.
If people follow the rules, they do not. There is not a safety concern. I'm not going to discuss that here.
One of which.
Thank you.
One of which is unlicensed.
All right, so Rick has called the motion for the resolution 1952, I assume with the amended noise ordinance verbiage?
Yeah, let's see, the other, number one to change, well, I was suggesting 15 and 15 and 5, which is what staff did as well. Are you okay with that?
Yep. That's
Number one, 15, 15 and 5. Change number 6 to not have the hours of operation, but to be the noise ordinance, whatever the times are specified in the noise ordinance, and otherwise the ones went over in red.
okay. So those in favor of approval with the resolution 1952, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Next.
That's
I
not.
wasn't ready. I didn't hear you say nothing.
I know, I was like,
I get the grief of it.
how do you vote?
I have a question as far as if these aren't being, like if, like say things are laying out, whatever, like how many chances does this, do you get before they're like, okay, it's done? Does that make any sense? Like,
So with Rick's amendment to number 1, that would give them that 15 days to come into compliance.
oh, gotcha.
If
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't do the extension, so that's where that time frame comes in. After that, it would go towards our normal enforcement action. So if they are outside of the scope of the CUP, they would receive the enforcement letter, so notifying, hey, here's your CUP, here's where you fall. Generally, in order to kind of defend that timeline from the city standpoint, it's usually a 30-day notice, with an additional 30-day follow-up. And at that point, if it's not cleaned up, then we do pursue the revocation or, in some instances, the civil and criminal action, depending on
And how many
What it
times
is.
are you gonna do this?
which piece.
Well, it gets cleaned up and then a month later it starts all over again. How many times are you gonna do
So it
that?
would still be up to city council if they would want to call for that hearing to revoke, if there has been substantial kind of evidence that this CUP has been in violation. The council does have the authority to do that.
Not at the city here, but at township, at joint planning, we've had people who have continually pushed the envelope on their CUP, and it was revoked.
You should ask him. I was gonna ask it. Sorry, go ahead. I goofed it up, but I had something on the membrane.
You are going to vote?
Yes. Probably recall the vote then, I guess.
Becky, you're good?
Yeah.
So those in favor of the resolution 1952, state aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, the next on the list is the CUP for a salon home occupant on PID 60-4580610.
Thank you, Mayor. So tonight before you, this will be the second home occupation before you tonight. So we received the application. This one is for a salon. So it's also within the R1 zoning district. Similar conditions are laid out within the resolution 1953. We've had similar salon resolutions come through before. I believe just about a year ago, we had a salon come through. So much of this is very similar to that one. Basically the same standards, no on-street parking for customers. They must be off-street. Same thing with the signs. And then we do limit the number of sinks that can be installed and must be conducted within the existing residence. Otherwise, staff is recommending approval of the resolution.
Just point of clarification, in the action requested, it lists 19th Avenue, I'm assuming it's supposed to be 18th Avenue for the address.
Fix that?
And planning and zoning did approve this one.
Correct, yeah.
So can we visit again the hours of operation? 8 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Talked about going later when we talked about it at
Yeah,
planning.
yeah. And that's actually a good catch. It did get changed during the planning commission meeting to 9 p.m.
So 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Yes.
Do we need the same kind of protocol with deliveries that you had on the last CUP? I know it's listed as number 8. Products in home occupation should be delivered by single rear axle straight trucks.
the one we put in the previous one had to do with, like flatbed and I don't imagine they're gonna get that much material.
I have no idea.
Equipment will come that way.
But it'd be a one-time shot, or, okay, what, I guess what's
No,
specific?
I don't know. I mean, I think what's bothersome a little bit, and maybe it's just an explanation of clarification, you have one CUP that has kind of rolled over with the same verbiage to the next one, and I'm trying to distinguish like
Yep.
how you are identifying each business, or if it's like CUP for a home business no matter what.
So the home business can be a CUP no matter what. The conditions that get placed on it depend mostly on what the use is. So for the salons, we focused more on kind of the items that would relate to it. So in this instance, the sinks, for instance, with this one, kind of as Rick mentioned, we didn't anticipate anything being over that kind of FedEx type truck coming down the road. So that one's mostly a carryover, and that's actually a copy and paste of our code. So that's where that language comes from. The conditional use permit, even though it runs with the property, it is still specific for that type of business. So although it's a home business, it can't be any home business. This one would be specific to a salon. So they can't come back later and change, oh, hey, I have a CUP for a home business, and say the salon turns into the gutters. Those don't mix. So that's kind of where we target our conditions.
So do we need to worry about trash for this CUP as well? I didn't see anything in it. I don't know how much garbage is generated, but do we need to like,
Is there?
A lot of foil.
They were not able to attend.
Let's,
I don't know.
definitely something to consider. I mean, if you have,
I mean, if there's two occupants working, I don't know. I'm just saying you have screening of trash in one and not even mentioned. So, food for thought as we review the codes. How's that? Okay. All right. Did anyone have any questions or concerns in regards to the CUP for this PID?
did you want to make anything in the recommendation here regarding trash?
I think it would be nice to make sure, like, if there's an excess amount, that it's screened. If there's garbage used solely for business,
I'm guessing of course I'm guessing, but I'm guessing they're probably just gonna use a regular trash bin.
I think the previous ones, because they're dumpsters, it's the size of them.
okay. Anyone else? Nope. Then I'll ask for a motion to approve.
Make a motion, we approve Resolution 1953, approving a conditional use permit for a salon home occupation on the property identified as PID 60-458-0610.
Can I clarify that if that includes that 9 PM edit?
Yes, I
Oh.
thought staff had
Okay.
made that.
Yep, that was our mistake on printing tonight, so.
Motion will, assuming that's an amendment, my motion will be with that amendment.
I'd second it.
Okay, so motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any other discussion on this? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. All right, Marie, City Code Chapter 4 edits.
So as we're moving through all the chapters within our city code, we're going kind of one by one. This chapter outlines some of the items that relate to building code. So we did go through and we identified some of the areas that need changing. For instance, when it comes to building permits, there are some state thresholds where permits are not required. For instance, the new accessory structure is 200 square feet. Our old code mentions 120 square feet. And fences is 7 feet. Our old code mentions 6 feet, so it's bringing that back up to what the state standard is. We also have some revisions to the grading escrow, just for clarity. So this is something we've been using for the last couple of years now, but more outlining process for it. And then detached decks under 30 inches, we have an administrative permit for it, but it wasn't specifically laid out within code, kind of clear on that. So it's just cleaning some of those up. A couple other small edits. There was some educational pieces, requirements relating to septic. We're removing that. Also just more minor edits relating to to building code. And this would be a two-part motion. The first motion we would ask would be for the ordinance itself, ordinance 216 second series, and then the summary for publication purposes would be the second one.
Marie, the one thing I saw, page 11 of 35, subdivision number 2, it references 120 square feet of the floor area.
Yep.
Should that be 200?
Correct.
Okay.
That is.
Did in the
Perfect. Thank you.
previous.
Any other questions on that one? If not, I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 216, second series.
Second.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And then Mike, if you'll make the motion for ordinance publication?
Yeah, for 216, second series for publication. I'll make a motion for that.
Second it.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Marie, City Code Chapter 11, pool performance standards edits.
All right, so this was more of just a minor update for us. We still have to do the full Chapter 11, but wanted to get this to council earlier. Right now, within our Chapter 11 for the pool standards, it does require a administrative permit for any pool that does not require a building permit. So this is just kind of outrageous to us staff. When you talk about kiddie pools or anything that are going up in the summertime, there's no need to permit every single one of those. So we are trying to, or the ordinance would remove that requirement for any of the pools under that 24 inches or less than that 5,000 gallon volume, which falls outside of the scope of that building code. So it would remove that permit just for, we don't see it necessary, so. And this would also be the two motions, one for the ordinance and one for the summary.
Excellent find.
Make the motion for ordinance 216, or 217. 217, second series, updating the pool standards.
Second that.
Motion from Mike, second from Rick. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And I'll make a motion for 217, second series, publication.
I'll second that as well.
Motion from Mike, second from Rick. Any discussion on the summary? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. Administrator and staff reports. Bid acceptance for the tuck pointing, caulking, and block replacement at City Hall, BCC, and PCGC. Any other acronyms?
We thought we'd throw them all in there
Yeah.
at the same time, so. Good evening, guys. We just want to come before you. All of this work that we're proposing, it's in our operations budget, but when you add all of them up, the number got to be pretty substantial, totaling just under $35,000. So we do have money set aside in our budgets for them, but as a courtesy to council, we wanted to come before you and make sure that council was comfortable moving that forward. Staff didn't feel comfortable making the move without you guys and your support on this. So some of this work, the caulking and the tuck point, so for those who aren't familiar with that, the mortar in between the block joints is either worn away or is exposed, or the caulk joints are completely cracked and open. There's areas in the community center where you can stick your fingers in the joints. So there's a lot of work to be done. The golf course in particular, it's the chimney. We've got water in the basement because of the chimney. There's roughly 35 to 40 brick that will be pulled out and replaced, and then all of the mortar replaced, and then a seal put on it as well. So there's a lot of work that's been neglected for a few years that we're just trying to play catch up. Like I said, we do have the money there, but because it adds up at all three locations to just under $35,000, we want to make sure that council is comfortable with that. One other thing too, Aquastriba tuck pointing is the low bid. We did seek two other bids. One did not respond to us, and another company out of St. Cloud just gave us a bid at the BCC, which was $22,000. So we did not seek bids at the other two locations because they were so high on that one in particular, so.
Have we used this vendor before?
They're new to us. It's actually hard to find a contractor that specializes in this, the tuck pointing and the caulking, and that can get us into the schedule yet this year.
They typically don't want to do it.
Right. In this construction climate, it's a small job that's a kind of a pain in the butt. The scaffolding work alone and the insurance cost, one person, I didn't even want to take a look at it because of the roof pitch and the height, so.
It's hard to get them to do stuff like this, but it needs to be done.
Right, and just so council's fully aware of what we've done, we have signed the agreements so we could hold a scheduled slot in September for the work to be done, knowing that if council does not want to move forward, we can cancel those agreements. But I want to make sure you guys were aware of that as well.
You want a motion for that, or you just want a nod from the council?
I'll probably,
Motion, please.
yes. I'm fine with a nod, but Madam Mayor is
Safely
pretty
not be.
formal, so it's,
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we approve the building repairs.
I'll second it.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
thank you.
Thank you. 2019 to 2021 auditing services contract. Connie Robinson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council. So back in July, we sent out RFPs for auditing services for the next 3 years, so 2019, 20, and 21. We received 7 proposals, and after a careful review, you'll see our decision matrix. We carefully went through each proposal, and tonight we are asking for a motion and a second to approve Resolution 1951 approving Bergen KDB as our auditor for the next 3 accounting periods. And any questions, I can answer them.
I have a brief question. You shared your decision-making matrix with us.
Yes.
How did you evaluate or weight out, like, access, availability, and approach when some of these we haven't used before? Like, did you call for a reference? Like, how do
We did. We called references that they gave, and then just through the proposal, they explained how they would work the audit. And then, like I said, I did call references on our top 3 after reading the proposal. Some of them were not real detailed, and so those immediately just did not get the point distribution just because they weren't very clear in their audit process.
Any other questions for Connie?
Make a motion to approve Resolution 1951.
I'll second it.
Motion from Troy, second from Mike. Any other question or discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Connie?
Thank you.
So a call for public hearing for the creation of the TIF districts number 4 and number 5. Ms. Flipson.
Thank you, Mayor. So we have been approached with the possibility of a couple projects within our community. In order to keep these projects moving forward and on their timelines, we are requesting that you approve the 2 resolutions, 1954 and 1955 tonight. What these are is it calls for the public hearing, which would be set for October 15th. At that time, we would have further information if the projects continue to move forward. If they do not move forward, the public hearings could be canceled. But right now, the projects, we believe, are moving forward, so we would like to stick to the timeline. But more information would come at that October 15th meeting. This is simply the hearing.
Would there be anything at EDA as well in the early October meeting? What happened before the October 15th?
Correct. So right now, it's scheduled to be the night before
Yep.
City Council, so it would be at that meeting as well. Yep.
Okay. Would that be an actual public hearing, or would that just be discussion?
That would just be discussion. The public hearing itself would have to be at the City Council meeting.
Okay,
So this is just a call for the public, so October 15th, that's our scheduled our second scheduled meeting in October, so.
Correct, yep.
I will make a motion, separately here, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 1954, calling for a public hearing on the proposed TIF District Number 4 to be held October 15th at approximately 6 PM.
I'll second.
Motion from Rick, second from Becky. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
I will make a motion to, for Resolution 1955, to call for the public hearing on the proposed TIF District Number 5 to be held on October 15th, that's approximately 6 PM.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Becky. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, City Council, please take note, we have a revised consent agenda for this evening. Item number 1 is a hiring and termination report form for the Becker Community Center. Item number 2 is a hiring and termination report form for Pebble Creek Golf Club. Item number 3 is setting meeting dates for the Becker City Council. That's Resolution 1950. And then item number 4 is domestic clarifier coating project. So if you have any questions, I can try to answer. Otherwise, a motion to approve the consent agenda for September 3, 2019.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second it?
Motion from Rick, second from Troy. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Payment of the bills.
Make a motion that we pay the bills.
Motion from Troy, second from Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anniversary announcements for the month of September. Julie Bleasy, our city clerk, is celebrating 6 years. Chelsea Swigum at the Community Center, our program supervisor, is celebrating her 2nd year. Our police chief, Brent Balloon, is celebrating 13 years.
Boy, how time flies.
Police officer Christopher Lindblom is celebrating his 6th. Sarah Schaefer, our administrative support specialist at Public Works, is celebrating her 1st year with us. And Bruce Thompson at Public Works, our maintenance worker, is celebrating 25 years with us. So congratulations to those folks. Does council have anything else for the betterment of Becker? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Will we adjourn?
I'll second that.
Motion from Mike, second from Troy. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We are adjourned 6:53.